In the previous lectures, we have introduced two types of text tab layouts, fixed and scrollable. In this lecture, we are going to learn about tab layout with icon. A tab layout with icon will be something like the one that is shown in this picture. In this picture, we see a tab layout with 3 items, where each item has an icon and no title. So, the first thing we need to do is to place our icons inside the drawable folder of our project. I want to create a tab layout exactly like the one shown in this picture. To get the icons, I go to materialdesignicons.com. Then I search for phone. I select this one and then I go to advanced export. I set its size to 48 and its foreground to white. Then I press icon to start downloading the icon. Once the icon has been downloaded, I go to the downloads folder and copy the icon file. Then I return to Android Studio and paste it inside the drawable folder. I return to materialdesignicons.com to get the other icon for my tab layout. The next icon is a heart symbol, so in the search field I search for heart. Advanced export, size 48, and then I press the icon button to start downloading the icon. I go to the downloads folder, copy the icon file, and then I paste it inside Android Studio's drawable folder. Next, I'm going to find an icon for my third item, which has an account icon. I go to materialdesignicons.com and search for account. I select this one, choose advanced export, size 48, and I press the icon button to start downloading it. I go to downloads, copy the new icon, then I return to Android Studio and paste it inside the drawable folder. I also rename the icon to account. Now we have 3 icons inside our project's drawable folder: account, heart, and phone. Once the icons are in the drawable folder, I'm going to open the activity main layout. Inside the tab layout tag, I'm going to change the value of the tab mode attribute from scrollable to fixed. And that's because we have only 3 items in our tab layout and we don't need it to be scrollable. I close the activity main layout and then I delete all the 10 layouts that I have created in previous lectures for the tab layout because I don't need them anymore. I click delete, OK, and then delete anyway. I also remove the Java classes corresponding to those layouts. Delete, OK, and delete anyway. Next, inside the layout folder, I'm going to create 3 separate layouts for my tab layout items. I right-click on the layout folder and then select New Layout Resource File. I name my layout recent_layout. And I change its root element from linear layout to relative layout. I go to the text section and I create a new text view inside my layout. You can add any widget or component that you want in your layout. I set the width and height of my text view to wrap content. Then I add a text for my text view. Android:text equals, for its text I enter for example recents. I press Alt and return, extract string resource and OK. After text, I type Android:layout_center horizontal and I set its value to true. And also Android:layout_center vertical and I set its value to true as well. This way, my text view will be placed at the center of the layout both vertically and horizontally. Next, I type Android:text size and I set its value to 40 sp. And finally, I set its text style to bold. Okay, now it's time to create our next layout for our second item. I right-click on the layout folder and select New Layout Resource File. For its name, I enter favorites_layout. I change its root element to relative layout and OK. OK, the layout has been created. Now I copy the text view that I have created in the previous layout and then paste it inside this layout as well. I also change its text to favorites. I press Alt and return, extract string resource and OK. And that's it for my second layout. Now I create the next layout for my tab layout's third item. I name it, for example, nearby_layout. I change its root element to relative layout. In the text section for this layout, I paste the text view that I have already copied from the first layout. I also change its text to nearby. I press Alt and Return and extract the string. So far, we have created 3 layouts for the 3 items that we are supposed to add to our tab layout. Now we need 3 Java classes for these layouts. I name the first class Recents Fragment. Next, I make Recents Fragment a subclass of Fragment using the extends keyword. I add the constructor for the class. Then I go to the code menu, select Override Methods, and add the onCreateView method to my class. I create a view object inside the class, and then in the onCreateView method, I type view equals inflator.inflate. Inside the inflate method, I must pass the layout that I have created for the recents fragment class. So I type r.layout.recents_layout. As before, for the second and third arguments, I pass in container and false. Then I return the view object. What we did so far was very similar to those for tab layouts with text. I continue this procedure for the other layouts. I name the next class Favorites Fragment. This class also must extend fragment. Control and return, and I add the constructor. I add the onCreateView method as well. I declare a view object inside my class, and then I use it inside the onCreateView method. View equals inflator.inflate. The layout that I need for the favorites fragment class is r.layout.favorites_layout. The next argument is container, and the last one is false. And finally, I return the view object. Next, I create the last class for the third item on my tab layout. I name it Nearby Fragment. Like the previous classes, I derive this class from fragment. I press Ctrl and return, add the constructor. Then I add the onCreateView method. I declare a view object inside the class, and then I use it inside the onCreateView method. I type view equals inflator.inflate. To this method, I then pass the layout that I have created for this class, r.layout.nearby_layout. View group is container and attached to root is false. And I return the view object. Alright, what we did so far was that inside the layout folder, we created 3 layouts for the 3 items with icons that we are supposed to create on our tab layout. Furthermore, we created 3 Java classes corresponding to these 3 layouts. Before I open main activity, I'm going to open strings.xml inside the values folder. I then remove all the strings that we had created for the previous version of our tab layout, because we don't need them anymore. The 3 strings that we need for this version are recents, favorites, and nearby. I open the main activity class. Then I remove these extra lines which were for our previous tab layout. Next, I'm going to add the 3 fragments that I have created in the Java section to my adapter object. I type adapter.addFragment. Inside the parentheses, I pass an instance of the recents fragment class, new recents fragment. The next argument I need to enter is a title. Note that for this tab, our tab layout will have only an icon and no title, so I just enter an empty string. Just the same way, I add the 2 other classes. The next class is favorites fragment. Its title is also an empty string. Adapter.addFragment. I pass it an instance of nearby fragment, and its title is an empty string. Now that we have added our fragment classes to the adapter object, we need to set an icon for each of our tab layout items. So I type tablayout.getTabAt. This method returns the tab at the specified index that we passed to it as an integer argument. Here I enter 0, which means I want the first tab from the left returned. Next, I call setIcon. This method accepts a drawable resource, and I'm going to pass it one of the images that I have inside the drawable folder. Okay, the icon for our 0th tab, our first item, is r.drawable.phone. Here in the picture also you see that the phone icon is for the first item on the tab layout. I return to Android Studio and type tab layout dot get tab at. This time I pass it 1, and this will return the second tab or the second item on the tab layout, which is favorites. Then set icon. Its icon is r.drawable.heart. Just like that for the third tab, tab layout dot get tab at. This time for the index I enter 2, which is the third item on the tab layout from the left. Dot set icon. Its icon resource is r.drawable.account. For now, we're done with main activity. So we added our 3 fragment classes to the adapter object. Finally, we defined an icon for each item on our tab layout. There's only a small change that we need to make in the viewPagerAdapter class. So I open this class and I go to the getPageTitle method. Note that in this version of our application, our tab layout has only icons and no titles. So I comment out return fragment title list. Instead, I type return null. And that's because we have no title to return. Finally, we are ready to run our project on the emulator. Alright, our application was successfully launched on the emulator. As you can see, our tab layout has 3 tabs, and each tab has an icon and no title. So we easily created a Java class and a related layout for each item on our tab layout, and also defined an icon for each of the items. You saw that it was not that difficult. Now you can further customize your layouts and fragments. Alright, that's enough for this lecture. In the next lecture, we will get output from this project.